Our next inductee from the class of 2006, Jennifer McKee Dyson. Jennifer dominated in the circle for Big Blue softball, where she accumulated a career pitching record of 62-16, including 38 shutouts and 2 perfect games, earning an ERA of .47 while keeping opposing hitters to just a 108 batting average. She was named, you can clap for that one. I announce baseball, and I can tell you, that's something. She was named First Team All-GMC 3 times, All-Cincinnati 2 times, All-Southwest District 3 times, and First Team All-Ohio twice. She was instrumental in the team's 2006 OHSAA Final Four appearance. She still holds the career strikeout record with 813 in 530 innings pitched. Jennifer continued her softball career for the Evansville Purple Aces, where she obtained a Bachelor's of Science in Visual Communication. For the Purple Aces, she was named to the Auburn Tiger Invitation All-Tournament team, and she was selected for numerous Scholar Athlete Awards. She resides in Evansville, Indiana with her husband, Andrew, where she works as a graphic designer and vice president of Social Life Marketing, LLC, and co-owner of Escape Evansville, LLC. Ladies and gentlemen, from the class of 2006, Jennifer McKee Dyson. Congratulations.
I'd first like to thank the Hamilton Athletic Department and all those who are involved with my nomination. It's an honor to be included in a list of people with such great achievements and stories and successes. When I got the call about the induction and started to think about this speech, it was really hard for me to sort out all of my great memories that I have from playing for Hamilton to pack in just a few short minutes, so I'm going to do my best, but hopefully this trap door doesn't go. I was fortunate enough to play alongside many great players and even greater teammates, including my fellow inductee, DJ DeLong, who I'm thrilled to be sharing this moment with. And truly, without those teammates, none of this would be possible. Growing up, playing for the Hamilton High varsity team was my #1 goal. From the first pitch I ever threw in my backyard to the first day of tryouts my freshman year, pitching for the Big Blue was the driving factor behind what I was working for. No matter how many great travel teams I played on in the summer, to me, until I was wearing that blue jersey, I hadn't really quite made it. It wasn't just about representing my school, but it was about representing the city of Hamilton. And I think that the best story that I have of describing this feeling and why it meant so much to me to have been a part of the Hamilton High softball program comes from my senior season when we made it to the Final Four. And many of you might not know, but my senior year team may not have been as experienced as the previous teams I played for at Hamilton, but we had an overwhelming chemistry and just this scrappy attitude, and we were just determined that we were going to go to state that year and that there wasn't anyone that was going to stop us. And the best part about it is the entire school, the entire city, everyone that we knew was just as excited and determined as we were to be on the journey with us. I remember above the cafeteria of the school hung a Road to State banner, and they would put up a big letter H with the score of the game after every tournament game that we won. And it just seemed like every day the whole school couldn't wait for the next H to be hung up. In the regional semifinal, we were 2 games away from going to state, and turned out we would face Lakota East. And it was the same Lakota East that we had beaten easily twice that whole season. The first time we played them, I had thrown a no-hitter, and the second time, I threw a perfect game with 17 strikeouts. So we never overlooked any opponent, but going into this game, we felt confident and just as good as we had all season. To fully appreciate the story, you have to know that at some point during the season, we started the tradition of singing on the bus on the way to the games, and it wasn't just singing, it was a set ritual, and we had set songs and specific people who would sing parts of the song and even some choreography, and everybody had their part to join in on. And it eventually got to the point that we had to make a rule for ourselves that we wouldn't start singing until our bus got to 75, because if not, we were all hoarse by the time we got to where we were going. And the main song, for some reason, was Build Me Up Buttercup. And it was such a big thing that it somehow became the song that everyone knew. From teachers to parents to fans, everyone knew that Build Me Up Buttercup was our song. And one time the office even had us sing it to start the morning announcements, as strange as that is. And during our send-off to the state tournament, I remember the whole school came out and sang it to us as we boarded the bus to go to state. So it may not be the typical pump-up song for most people, but in some crazy way, it just kind of brought all of us together. So back on the road to regionals against East, we boarded the bus, hit the road, sang our hearts out, started the game just like every other time we had done it that season. But long story short, we found ourselves down 5-4 in the top of the 7th, with Lakota East threatening to score again and just feeling like the game was slipping away from us. And that day, our momentum was off, our chemistry was off. We were all everyone on the team was having a bad game at the worst time, and we just couldn't do anything to stop it. And right as we felt like the nail was in the coffin, we were about ready to go home, just all of a sudden lightning strikes and a huge storm system rolls in the top of the 7th inning, 2 outs, top of the 7th. And it was enough that it postponed the game, which means we had to come back to Hamilton and then drive back up to Dayton the next day to finish the final inning. And I remember going home that day knowing that my high school career was over. And I remember the sense of just sadness and defeat that I hadn't felt the whole year. And the next day at school, it felt like the whole school felt it with me. It was just a very somber day. And even though we hadn't given up all hope, we all kind of knew that it was going to take a miracle to pull this one out and reach our goal. So back up on the road today and the next day, the bus was quiet. There wasn't anything. No one was even talking. We were all just looking straight ahead. But as we got to 75, I don't remember who it was. It could have been either Mimi Mahan or Tracy Ryder, but very softly just started singing "Build Me Up Buttercup." Not out loud. You couldn't really even hear. But I'll never forget, the whole bus kind of all slowly sat up and we started looking at each other. And one by one just kind of started joining in the lyrics. And I can't explain it, but it was like somebody flipped a switch and all of a sudden we just felt this sense of urgency that we had to win this game. And we felt all of the support and energy that we had been given from everybody that whole season. And we just knew that we can do it. And in a dramatic, miraculous twist of fate that until then I thought only happened in sports movies, we came back and somehow won in the bottom of the 7th inning against all odds. And we went on the next game to beat Fairfield in the regional final in what will always be my favorite softball moment in my life. It was a huge GMC rivalry. The stands were packed to the max all the way around the field. I remember it was a pitcher's battle. It was tied 0-0 all 7 innings, and then we ended up winning in the 8th inning with a home run, and it was just an awesome game that I still just get chills thinking about, my favorite game of my career. And in the moment that I threw the final strike to end that game to put us to the Final Four, I remember looking up and seeing just a sea of blue shirts, and it felt like the entire city of Hamilton was there cheering with us for reaching that goal. And I realized then that I couldn't ever replicate the feeling, no matter where or who I played for. It was the feeling that I dreamt about as a little girl pitching in my backyard, and it's why of all of the jerseys that I've worn in my life, I am most proud to have worn the one that says Big Blue. I can't leave here without thanking all my teammates and coaches who have been part of my softball journey. First of all, thank you to fellow Hall of Famer Linda Milholland, who taught me everything I know about pitching from day one all the way through high school, and even sometimes in college when I came home for breaks. Thanks to Coach Steve Heckman, Darren Stevens, and Todd Isgro, along with several other Hamilton staff members through the years who helped me grow, and as far as I can remember, never once complained about having to endure our bus ride karaoke performances. I'd like to thank all of my family who have come tonight, some who traveled several hours to be here. I am honored to be joining my great uncle Woody Herzog in the Hall of Fame, and I'm humbled that so many of my family members are here to be a part of this moment. Last but not least, I'd like to thank my parents, Brian and Terry, for the countless hours spent at games, lessons, practices, and traveling to ball fields literally all over the world. They've been my biggest supporters, at times my toughest coaches, but always my favorite fans. Thank you all again for the support and for the memories and for giving me the opportunity to pitch for the Hamilton High Big Blue.